How to choose a business coach. That is the subject I'm going to be discussing with you today. Many life coaches, in fact, all life coaches need a business coach at some point. You might not have one or need one right now. You might be doing something, but in terms of personal development and business development, a business coach is going to be an absolute must at some part in your career. And bear in mind, I'm saying this with over 30 years experience in the sales and marketing world. I have a degree, I've won awards, and I still have a coach because it's always things to learn and develop and tweak and enhance your business. But how do you choose a business coach? That's what I'm going to be talking about right now. So if you want to grab yourself a pen and paper, I'm going to be sharing with you what I look for when I am choosing a business coach. I think it's really important to be open-minded to the fact that you might not know what you really want. So having an open mind is always going to be a good thing. But of course, knowing what you want, or certainly, my hair's messy, certainly an idea of knowing what you want is going to help you find the person that you want. But please do have that open mind. Now, a lot of people look for a business coach when they are in need of finding new clients. But that could also be a sales coach or a marketing coach, might not be a business coach at all. You see, business coach can work in so many different ways. Could work on a strategic level, could work on an accountancy level, even a recruitment level. Okay. So, but when we say business coach, especially in the circles of life coaching, we often think about client recruitment. Okay, so let's just base that there. So this is what I have done in the past. The first thing is I've just looked at myself and asked myself, what have I been doing over the previous week, previous month, previous 3 months, even maybe even previous 6 months, and looked at the activities that I have been doing. I think that's really important. Write that down. And we can do a little SWOT analysis by ourselves before we even start to contact a coach. Now, if you don't know what a SWOT analysis is, it's SWOT. You can Google it. There's lots of wiki stuff on it. And it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So let's look over the last, let's say, 3 months of how you have been trying to recruit clients, if that's the sort of business coach that you're going for, and ask yourself, what are your strengths, or what have been your strengths? So maybe a strength could be diligence. Maybe a strength has been commitment. What are the weaknesses? Maybe a weakness is that you feel a little bit intrepid with actually speaking to somebody for the first time, or discovery calls, or maybe you don't know how to write engaging text that elicits responses from the right type of people. An opportunity could be maybe that you've got access to an email list that you've had for some time, or maybe an opportunity or some skills that you have, but you haven't yet used them. Maybe other opportunities could be summits and conferences you're going on and things like that. And T for threats. Well, what has been threatening your business? Maybe it could be a crisis of confidence, and maybe it's an issue of time, or even an issue of money. So it's a really good thing if you could make a SWOT analysis of yourself, because then you don't have to share all that with a business coach, but it just gives you an idea of how you feel about yourself. Now, when I've reached out to people before in the past, I've known a little bit about that person already. Maybe I've known somebody who they've been working with, which is obviously quite a common thing to do, or I've been following them, or I've met them. So, for example, my business partner used to be my coach, Rob Yates, And I met Rob in Nashville. And then we got together and we spent quite a few, well, I think we were there for 4 or 5 days. We spent quite a few moments with each other, and I really got to know him. So that's and he wasn't pushing anything down my neck. There's nothing salesy going on like that. He wasn't forcing me into anything. And that's another good thing to look out for. When people say, hey, look, I've got a special offer on, ask yourself why. If people are asking you to commit now, ask yourself why. And if people start using shaming tactics and little things that they say to you, such as, oh, aren't you able to make a decision for yourself? Or have you never made a big decision before in your life? Or whatever else they might say, just pause and hold yourself, because if anybody is trying to use a level of shame on you, then certainly they don't have their best interests for you, and they're probably not good at what they do. There might be an effective salesperson by shaming you into something, but fortunately, not every business coach is like this, of course, but please do be aware of it. Another thing for you to consider is their internet presence. What do they share on their social media profiles? This is going to be quite interesting, because what you're going to be doing here is you're almost finding a leader with a business coach. They've walked in your shoes. They've gone down that path already. So what are they sharing on social media? Is it just business and nothing personal? Are you happy with that? Is that okay? Or do you want to get to know that person a little bit beforehand? Do they write anything provocative? Are they trying to hurt people? Do they seem genuine? Do they seem kind? Are they always talking about the same thing? And what I mean by that, yes, I understand that business is quite varied, but if one day they're offering you to sell a funnel to you, and then the next day they're trying to sell you somebody else's marketing program, and then they're trying to sell you their own marketing program, and then they're trying to sell you a range of whole different things, what does that say about them? It's up to you to decide, but what does that say about them? For me, they're a little bit all over the place. So let's just say that we've understood a little bit about them, and I would make a commitment to myself at this point to say, when I do speak to these people, I will not make a decision right now. I will go to bed and think on it, no matter what they say, even if I have to say no thank you to them. Okay? Because if you need to say no thank you to them, that's fine. It doesn't mean that you can't pick up the phone tomorrow or the day after and say, look, I've revisited my thoughts. I'd like to go ahead with you. So please remember that when you have a discovery call, solution call with them or whatever, please make sure that you're not going to go and buy immediately, because we don't need to buy off emotion. We do need to apply a little bit of logic to this. Now, whereabouts is this person meeting you? And what I mean by that is, I'm not talking about Zoom or Google Meet or something really traditional like a telephone. Imagine that. But where are they? Are they in a noisy place? Are they in their car? Somebody about 2 to 3 weeks ago said, "Oh yes, I can speak to you. I can speak to you in about half an hour, David. I'm on my bike ride and I'll stop and I'll speak to you." And I said, "No, thank you." And he said, "Why? I do 10,000 kilometers a year and I'm always biking." I said, "That's fine, but if you want to speak with me, my time is precious. My time is important. I'll meet with you when you're not on your bike, but when you are in a place where you can sit down and think. Talk to me about proper things." We never followed that up. So where are they and what sort of distractions do they have around them? Now, I understand that sometimes their family might pop up and stuff like that. I have that myself. Sometimes the phone might accidentally ring. But if they're in their car, what's that say about them? Now, maybe they are out walking, but they let you know beforehand. I can take this call with you. I can give you some of my time, but I will be out walking. However, complete and total focus is on you. I'm not doing any heavy activities before. I'm not waiting to meet friends or anything like that. I'll have a really, really good signal and you will get the best of me. I can accept that. That's not a problem. In fact, I've spoken to some people before where they've been pitching their services to me and they've said, look, David, I'm on vacation with my family. However, I am allowed a certain amount of time every day. So please be aware, my family are around, but I'm prepared to give this time to you and sit down with you. Okay, I'm fine with that. So just to have a little bit of a think of where they're meeting you and how they're meeting you. I've made a mistake many times as a person selling my services where I do too much speaking. Sometimes I spoke 80% of the time. And you might hear that. But you need to make the judgment is it excitement that they want to give and give and give and give? Or is it the fact that they just want to really control the conversation? Because there is a difference. And I've met some really good business coaches who can't shut up, but they just want to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and share loads of stuff with you. But I've also met the other business coaches that just bulldoze you and don't actually listen. Some business coaches can be quite intuitive. So what they'll do, they'll ask you a few questions and dive in, and then they'll go, well, have you considered this? And you go, yes or no. And they'll ask you another question. Where did that take you? And then they'll say, can I start to explain something for you? So they might do a fair bit of talking, but is it them just trying to pitch their services, or are they really trying to understand you and then to create a picture for you? Because for me, there is a difference. Okay. Now, getting to know you is really important. It's more important than their method or their system. And some coaches don't have a method or system, and that's brilliant, because what they'll try and do is understand where you're at and give you absolute guidance on something. Some coaches do have a method, and I don't know, they might call it the David method, DAVID or something like that. And I've got this David method. It's brilliant. D is for this, and A is for this, and V is for that. And if anybody comes to you with anything like that, walk away from it, because it's only been tested in one place, and it's been tested with them, and nowhere else. And it'll have very, very little success, just because they've have an analogy of, I don't know, smile. I saw that the other day. Sales, marketing, interest, loneliness and energy, or something like that. I can't remember what they said, but it was quite abysmal. And you see, when you're going to put a method together like that, it really needs to be tested by academics, white papers and things like that. So, for example, within the personal development sphere, the coaching environment, you've probably all heard of a tool called Grow, and it's said by Sir John Whitmore, and it has its criticisms, but so it should. It has its critique, and there's like T-Grow, and it's clear, and there's all these other things out there as well. You can talk about Cartman's drama triangle and what have you not, but they're published papers, they've been critiqued, and you can see where it's a good place to use it, see what's not a good place to use it. But that's something that just comes up and say, hey, come and use the happy method, it's going to get you clients. I like, oh, fuck off. It's utter shite, and they're just trying to package something up. But it doesn't mean that they can't have a process that has been successful for them in terms of a business model. Okay, so if there's an acronym like the David method or the SMILE method, the happy method, that's just some words thrown together. Okay, it is not a business model, but a business model looks entirely different. So, for example, if you're speaking to me and you explain to me that you've had a problem with client recruitment and you're not quite sure how to get your message out and what have you not, we have a bit of a chat, and I ask you the question, look, if your packages were sold at $1 a day, $31 a month, do you think you better sell them? You go, yeah, okay, can. Right. And then I can start telling you about how it's successful for Edward Addison and Anne-Marie Seekins and Tonya. And I've missed out loads of names, my apologies, and all the rest of them. And I can explain. Now, I now want to mention something else to you, and it's called layered conversations. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth in this because it's more like a coachy thing. A layered conversation is where you're bringing things in, or where the business coach is bringing things in to demonstrate a point quite often. And, you know, if they are successful in their business, then they really ought to be referencing some of their clients, and they'll have a whole bunch of clients that go, yeah, of course, send them over to me. I'll tell them what I've been doing with you. They should have that, and they should be referencing those people's names. I mean, I just mentioned Edward a few minutes ago. Yeah, Edward's happy to speak to anybody that we work with. That's not us asking him. It's going, look, you know what, guys, you're so good for me. How can I help you in return? And your clients want to do that. So I wouldn't even ask for testimonials or anything like that. I would keep my mouth shut. I really would keep my mouth shut, because if the business coach really thinks that they can work with you and really thinks that they can help you and support you, they're going to say, look, do you want to check out some of my clients? You can have a look at look at them from afar. So I keep scratching my legs. I'm being bitten by mosquitoes. You can have a look at them from far, or just drop them a line. Or if you want me to introduce me to you to them, you can do, or you can just do it blind and just drop a quick message and say, hey, look, think about working with David. How's it gone for you? And if the coach is not giving you a few names that you should be speaking with, then for me, that's a little bit of a red flag as well. So what questions can you ask a business coach to try and determine if they are the right person for you? Well, one of the questions is, have you worked with a person like me before? Where did they start? What was their starting point like? What was their journey like? What problem did they initially present to you? What problems did you uncover? And how did you unfold those problems for them? And where are they now? I mean, for me, they're obvious questions. So be very careful when somebody's trying to push something down your neck. Oh, you've got to have one of these, and if you don't have one of these, and everybody else has got one. And I hear that with these business coaches that do funnels and emailing lists. Everybody's got a funnel. Websites are dead, and you need a funnel, because if you don't have a funnel, you're wasting your time, and everything needs to be on autopilot and all that bullshit. When they're explaining that to you, you see, and I'll give you the difference. When I speak to potential clients, I explain to them why we grow a paid community. And I go back into the 1980s, and we can go back before that. If you look at the big names that have been around for 30, 40 years, and before funnels, before websites, before the internet, before social media and all that sort of stuff, how did they make a name for themselves? Well, yeah, they wrote a book, but how did they get people to buy that book? Right? Because in the good old days, the book was this like hallmark of like, wow, this person's awesome. If the person's written a book, then they've got to be worth their salt. And today it's so easy to do. But how did they write a book? And how did they get to sell so many copies? Well, the truth is, they went out there and they spoke to people and said, look, I help people overcome this problem. Can I help you? And they help them on a community level. Because if you imagine, if you've got 10 individual clients and they don't speak with each other, so you've got a client over here and a client over here and a client over here, and everything's done on one-to-one, great, they're going to grow and they're going to develop, but how much are they going to develop your business? But if you've got a community of 10 people where you're still giving them some level of one-to-one support, but they're coming together as a team, guess what? That community starts to grow, and they start to talk to each other, and they start to encourage each other, and then 10 becomes 15, and 15 becomes 30, and 30 becomes 300, and so on and so forth. So that's how I demonstrate why we help you create awesome communities, because that's how the big guys did it, and that's how they became big. Now, you don't have to become big. You might not want to. You might just want a community of 30 people or 300 people. It doesn't matter. When you look at people like Tony Robbins, he's your big example, right? He didn't start out with a funnel. There's no internet when he started out. So how did he get people following him? Brian Tracy, the same, started out in the 60s and 70s selling, wrote great books. What did he do? He went out. They created communities. They put workshops on. They put people together. And especially when you're working on your own as a single operator, sole operator, whatever you want to call yourself, entrepreneur, when you don't have a team where you're paying somebody wages, it's really difficult to do everything by yourself. And marketing is very, very difficult to do by yourself, especially cold marketing when people don't know you. But once you've got 20 people in that group, or even 10, 15 people in that group, and they start talking about you and saying, hey, you know what, I'm doing this with David, and I'm doing awesome things with him. It's great. I've got a friend, and he's not a client. Now, I've given him some tips in the past and what have you not. I've known Glenn since I was 12. He's not a coach. He's a psychic medium. And he has his own little group. And guess what happens? Excuse me, I'm really getting bitten by these mosquitoes. I need to go in a minute, I think. Come back later. Glenn has done so well. He provides great content. People love him. They feel so happy from the content they're receiving. Guess what they do? Oh, you need to go and speak to Glenn. So his group gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and so on and so forth. And that really is a massive key to marketing. And so when I say to you, go and speak to a business coach, you find out what they've got to offer. If they're telling you it's the best thing since sliced bread, let them back it up from the originals before the internet. Because the thing is with people like Tony Robbins and all these big names, right? They already had a big bundle of cash, and they already had a big bundle of following to go, yeah, we're going to jump into this. We're going to do that. We're going to go into your Facebook group. We're going to support your YouTube channel and everything else. They already had that following there. They didn't start out with all this tech. So what we need to do when we're listening to a potential coach is really listen to what they're saying and apply some critical thinking to it. Take your time, pause, take a pen and paper in there with you as well. Now, if this person starts to offer you lots of bonuses, to me, that's a red flag. They shouldn't be offering you bonuses. Why? Because they're shiny objects. You have one problem, and they'll break that problem down, and that one problem could come into 3 or 4 different pieces, and that's normal. But to have a bonus for this and a bonus for that and a bonus for something else, is that what you really need? Or are you now buying into greed? Because we don't want to be buying into greed, and that's not really a value that suits me or suits you. We need to be buying into the strategic problem. The strategic problem. Another key thing for you as well with a business coach is this: they need to be trying to keep it as simple as possible for you. If they're starting to create you systems where you should go and do this and go and do that and go and do the other and what have you not, it really is nonsense. You're a coach. Your best assets are the ability to listen, the ability to think, the ability to ask great questions. They're your best assets as a coach to marketing your businesses, getting out there and having conversations with people. That's what we need to do. And if anybody is trying to take you away from that or put things before it, for me, that's a red flag. You say, hey, let's get everybody into a funnel. No. Why don't we just have conversations with people right at the beginning? Hey, let's get everybody into a free Facebook group. No, why don't we just have conversations with people right at the very beginning? Hey, let's give everybody a lead magnet. Well, no, because if you can give people lead magnets, then you can have a conversation with people as well at the beginning. It's all about conversations. And you get 10 people, you get 20 people, you get 30 people, you get 50 people, and it grows. And your team, your clients, they become your friends. Fantastic. Some will leave, some will go. And here's a big thing that business coaches often say: you need to go high ticket. You just, excuse me 1 minute. Emilian, I need you to be absolutely still, please. Thank you. If business coaches are saying to you, you need to go high ticket, don't go low ticket, the churn is huge, you're wasting your time. Anne-Marie, in her first week, she got 53 clients in the first week. 53. Edward's got 180. He's predicted by the end of summer. Excuse me, I'll rephrase that. Edward's currently got 180 and he is recruiting 3 people a day at the moment. And he's been recruiting 3 people a day over the last 4 weeks. So don't tell me there's a huge churn in that. There is a huge churn when all you're concentrating on is sales and you're not giving service. There is a huge churn when you're giving service, but you're not giving love. There can be a huge churn when you're overwhelming your clients because you don't know how to look after them. So the business coach is, if you start to feel overwhelmed with the business coach you're speaking to, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It's a bit of a red flag. If they're encouraging you to just throw everything at them, at your clients, it's a bit of a red flag as well. And I've done that in the past. I've made these mistakes. What we need to do is I'll give some advice to you right now. When we're speaking to our clients, is we need to keep their focus as narrow as possible so they can overcome that one problem. That's what we need to do, right? That's what we need to do. And you know what? You never even need to do high ticket. You don't. Now, I don't know what you would call high ticket, 500, 5,000. I don't know. Let's just say that you gave some value to your group every single day, Monday through to Friday, Monday through to Sunday, however you want to do it. And let's just say that you did 2 half-an-hour Zoom calls a week. So they get 10 Zoom calls over a month. And you're live in your group with them every single day and a bit of accountability there. Whatever the problem is, isn't that worth $100 a month? Yeah, right. So we could quickly go out there and get 20 people, 30 people, 50 people, 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, 500 people. Let's not just look at what we need over the next month or the next 3 months. Let's look at this business properly. It's your business. It's your baby. It's for your legacy. So what does this business look like in 2 years' time? I'm not saying it's going to take 2 years to build, but if your product is $100 a month and you're not overwhelming people, they're loving it and you're answering their questions rather than just pouring new stuff in, you're answering their questions and you're charging $100 a month. And in 2 years' time, you've got 300 people or 400 people in your group. That's 30 to 40,000 a month. Is that worth building to? You know, is that worth building to? And this is the sort of, well, I'm now in the enlightenment stage with you. The enlightenment stage where you go, I haven't thought about it that way before. I haven't thought about it that way. So I'll just refresh with what I've just said with you there. Don't overwhelm your clients with too much, okay? Keep the focus nice and simple, but you can overwhelm them with love, right? And a great way of doing that is being available every day to answer their questions in the group setting. Hey, I'm going live today, 7 o'clock for half an hour, whatever day it is, whatever time it is. You can do that 5 days a week and they come in and ask their questions. Why isn't it overwhelmed? It isn't overwhelmed because you're answering their questions. You're not presenting them with something new. You're supporting them with something that they've already got. Okay? You're giving them something that they've already got. So don't overwhelm them. Give them lots and lots of love. Give them lots of love. Under promise and over deliver. And it doesn't matter whether you're helping them with their child's got ADHD, they're going through a divorce, it's some business coaching or whatever. If they're thinking, I'm only paying these guys 100 or this person $100 a month, that's amazing. And one of our products is that. And that's amazing. Go, wow, all this love and support I get. I didn't expect that, but I'm not being overwhelmed. And your group grows. Maybe you start out with 10 people in the first month and you're making $1,000 a month. You know, maybe your service delivery is only 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and maybe you do an extra Zoom on a Thursday night and they go, wow, I could have paid somebody else $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 for this, but David Poole or whoever you are is doing all this. I feel fantastic for it. So why should they leave? Now, some of them might knock on your door and say, hey, you know what? Can I pay for some one-to-one? And if you want to go down that road, go down that road. Create that opportunity for yourself. if you want to do that. But why can't we look at our business in 2 years' time and not in 2 months' time, in 3 years' time? Sure, we want to get a return on investment now from our coach. So if you're paying $1,000 a month, then you want to be, within the next 2-3 months, you want to be making that money back, and making a return on investment. That makes sense, doesn't it? But in 12 to 24 months' time, that's where we should be looking at, and that's where our business coaches, when they're having these conversations with you, should be looking at. They shouldn't be looking at here. Oh yeah, you've got this problem. What you need is lots of appointments, and I'll throw them your way if you follow my approach. That's not a business plan. That's not even a strategy. That's a tactic. And it's a tactic that's doomed for failure. It's doomed for failure because it doesn't attach itself to values, your values. And people buy into your values, and people buy into your story, and people buy into where you've been. I'm sat here right now in France. I've been here 12 years. I'm an English-speaking guy from a working class family who failed school. I really did fail school. I came up with nothing. I put myself in university later when I was 25. And then I came here to France and lived the life that I want to lead. People see that. So your business coach should really be encouraging you to lead from being you as well, because the biggest selling thing in your business is not a lead magnet. It's not a funnel. It's not a free gift. It's not a tripwire product. It's not a benefit. The biggest selling thing in your business as a coach is you. Now, a few people have made a few comments on here, and I can't see your names. I'm sorry, but Bart has. Bart's a great guy. And he says, love this business concept. Hits a sweet spot between practical support without forcing clients into a fixed program. Okay, where they have to take the standard steps, and they can mix it with what they want. Meet your clients where they are as a coach. That's what coaching's about. We don't want to force people into a system. That's not coaching. And it's okay if it's not coaching, if that's what you want. If you want to learn a method, if that's what you want. But if you genuinely want to create a legacy for you and your family, and a lifestyle business for you and your family, you need the help and support where the coach goes, he listens to you or she listens to you and asks you questions to show you a way that's simpler, that's more effective, that's going to take you to where you want to be. My name is David Poole. I work for Going Beyond the Illusion with my business partner, Rob Yates. He's a terrific guy. It's not just marketing we work with you on. It's not just experience or business development. If you've got any limiting beliefs and you felt that you've not been able to do something in your life, in your business, we work on those two strands as well. They're really important. Your business is a reflection of you. And if you agree with that statement, you are going to see things in your business that you don't like doing or don't like about yourself. Okay? And what Rob and I will do with you is we'll either show you a way around it, if that's possible, or show you a way through it. And we'll help you. And we'll work with you. Right, I'm going to go. You know what to do. If you're not working with me yet, follow me, look at me, just watch me. Go and speak to some of our clients. And then pick the phone up and give me a call. And we'll have a chat and see if we can come together. And if we can't, that's okay. And if we can, brilliant. I look forward to your success. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now I'm going to get some mosquito repellent.